At just 18 years old, Lamine Yamal has the world at his feet. He's Barcelona's new hope, Spain's golden boy, and already one of the brightest stars in football. But off the pitch, things aren't looking so perfect. Parties, headlines, and controversy are already creeping into his story at such a young age. And history tells us one thing: a player's talent alone isn't enough to become one of the greats. So the real question is, will Yamal become a legend or just another wasted prodigy? Let's find out. At just 18 years old, Lamine Yamal has already done things most footballers only dream of in their entire careers. While most players his age are still fighting to break into the reserves, Yamal is already Barcelona's main man, Spain's golden boy, and one of the brightest talents in world football. Think about this: by 18 he's played over 100 games for Barcelona, started in a Champions League knockout tie, and been the star of Spain's Euro 2024 triumph. Not just part of the squad, the star. In the semi-final against France, it wasn't some seasoned veteran who turned the game. It was Yamal, just 16 at the time, smashing in a world-class equaliser that left the whole stadium silent. That goal wasn't just beautiful, it was historic. He became the youngest scorer in Euro's history. And this is why people call him special. Not just because of the numbers, not just because of the records, but because when you watch him, you feel it. That same feeling people had the first time they saw Messi. That sense that something magical is happening every time he touches the ball. He plays without fear, with the swagger of someone who knows the ball belongs at his feet, no matter who stands in front of him. But here's the catch. Sometimes when a star shines too bright and too soon, it burns out just as quickly. Football has seen it before. Prodigies who looked destined for greatness, only for the weight of fame, pressure, and the temptations off the pitch to drag them down. And right now, that's the fear surrounding Yamal. Barcelona has been desperate for someone like Lamine Yamal. After Messi left, the club was completely lost. They had Ansu Fati, who many thought would be the next big thing, but injuries destroyed his momentum. Others tried to step up. Pedri, Gavi, even Lewandowski for a while, but none of them felt exciting enough like Messi did. Then came Yamal. At just 16, he wasn't just playing for Barcelona, he was carrying them in games. His creativity, his confidence, his ability to take on defenders, it was like watching a player born for this stage. His style had that mix of fearlessness and elegance that instantly made fans believe again. And for Spain, he's already their go-to man. At the Euros, he wasn't a passenger. He was a difference maker, creating, scoring, assisting, showing maturity way beyond his years. Broadcasters started building storylines around him. Opposing defenders began doubling up on him. He was no longer the kid getting minutes. He was the main threat. Fans and pundits started calling him the next face of Barcelona, the successor to Messi. Not because he plays exactly like him, but because he carries that same weight. The expectation of being the leader, the player you look to when nothing else is working. But carrying that weight comes at a cost, because with all the attention, all the pressure, comes something else, the spotlight. And with the spotlight, every mistake, every move off the pitch gets magnified. For someone this young, that spotlight can either turn you into an icon, or burn you out before your story even begins. And that's where the story takes a turn. In the summer of 2025, Yamal turned 18. Instead of quiet celebrations, reports came out of a wild party, drinking, questionable company, and headlines that had nothing to do with football. For the first time, his name wasn't just trending for goals and assists, but for controversy. Fans were shocked. Politicians even criticized him, saying he was a bad influence for young people. And just like that, the image of the humble, hardworking wonder kid started to crack. Of course, he's young. Who doesn't make mistakes at 18? But the difference is, Yamal isn't just any teenager. He's Barcelona's hope, Spain's future, and with that comes responsibility. Because football has seen this story before. A young superstar with unbelievable talent, but who gets distracted by the nightlife. One of the greatest examples, Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho gave the world some of the most magical moments ever seen on a football pitch. He was smiling, dribbling, dancing with the ball. He made people fall in love with football again. But off the pitch, the late nights and the partying caught up to him. Instead of ruling football for a decade, he shined for just a few years at the very top. Now, people are asking, Will Yamal follow the same path? Football is full of prodigies who had everything but lost it all. For example, Bojan Krkic, who is pretty much like Lamine Yamal, he was once crowned the new Messi. But like many other wonder kids, he couldn't handle the pressure and faded away before he even hit his prime. Adriano, a striker with the power of a god, also let the nightlife take over, and his career crumbled almost as fast as it began. Even Neymar, the prince who never became king. As brilliant as he's been these past years, he left fans with the feeling that he never truly reached his full potential because of distractions away from the game and also injuries, of course. And that's what I fear is the danger with Yamal. On the pitch, he's obviously unstoppable, but off the pitch, every choice matters, especially as a young star. Because talent will only take you so far, but without discipline, without focus, even the brightest stars fade into memory. Look at Cristiano Ronaldo. He wasn't the most naturally gifted like Ronaldinho or Messi, but he built his career on discipline, fitness, and obsession with improvement. That's why he stayed at the very top for more than 15 years, breaking records year after year. He didn't let the spotlight consume him, he used it as fuel. For Yamal, the question is simple. Which path will he take? The path of Ronaldinho, dazzling but short-lived, or the path of Ronaldo and Messi, disciplined, relentless, and legendary? At 18, he has the world at his feet, but also the world watching his every move. Every night out, every mistake, every rumor, it all gets amplified. And for someone with this much talent, the smallest wrong step can make the difference between being remembered as a king or just another what could have been. Right now, Lamine Yamal is a prince of football. Loved by fans, feared by defenders, admired for his genius. But the crown is heavy, and whether he becomes the king of this era depends on what he does next. On the pitch, he's already shown us glimpses of greatness. Goals, assists, records, and that special magic you can't teach. Off the pitch though, he's at a crossroads. He can either learn, stay disciplined, and become the legend everyone believes he can be, or he can let the distractions, the parties, and the fame pull him away from his true potential. The truth is, Yamal doesn't need to be the next Messi. He doesn't need to be the next Ronaldinho, or Neymar, or anyone else. He just needs to be the best version of himself. But greatness doesn't wait forever. And if he's not careful, the story of Lamine Yamal might not be about how he became football's next king, but how he let the crown slip away before he ever wore it.